man, let's get into this thing. The Cowboys over Thanksgiving. They beat the New York Football Giants 27-20. Now, wasn't a good game. And I don't know what side of the fence that you sit on, and I forgot to bring these numbers up, but I'm going to get them right now because I say this to you guys over and over and over and over again. Jerry Jones is a marketing genius. No matter what, he is going to find a way to get you to watch. And this goes back far before Jerry Jones. This goes back to Tex Schramm, who put the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And can you look up the viewership numbers? I forgot to put them down for the Thanksgiving game. Because again, two backup quarterbacks, two teams that are fighting for the worst division in football, had the highest viewership of any football game outside of the Super Bowl this year. They're somewhere in the $40 million. They're $40 million. $40 million. $38.5 million. They peaked at $41 million. I think they peaked at $41 million that game. Fourth highest rated in history. Fourth. Think about that. The Cowboys, no Dak Prescott, no Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley's in Philadelphia. You know, the teams are looking bad. One team is 2-9. The other team is 4-7 or what the hell they are, 3-7, and still 38 million viewers. Now I get it. You're probably sitting right there and say, hey, 330, food's on the table, everybody, but you had to turn the TV on to watch it. And Jerry wins again. The Cowboys win, Jerry wins. And while this game, I think most of us picked the Cowboys to win at the beginning of the year, in the words of the great Deion Sanders, do you believe now? And that's a realistic question. I know you're saying, I know that there are some of you who are saying, screw that, Jesse. We need the draft picks. We need the draft capital. We want to move up and the team tank. I get it. I hear y'all. Listen, I'm not fighting y'all. You can have the right to be team tank, whether it's organically, however you want it. I am not team tank. Never have, never will be. But do you believe? Do you believe a little bit? Micah said, man, listen, I don't care about their draft picks. I care about what they're doing. We putting something together, and we are going to make a run. Now, right now, I think ESPN had them out, their index, like the percentage of making the playoffs. Cowboys have a 3% chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Now, I don't believe it either. But I don't have to believe it. They don't pay me to believe. They pay me to analyze. They pay me to talk about it. But that's not to say that those guys in the locker room don't believe it. I do think Micah believes it. I do think Cooper Rush believes it. I do think CeeDee Lamb believes it. I know Dak was standing on the sideline saying, we effing suck. But if he was playing quarterback, I think he would believe it. That they can make a run and they look at their next 5 games and go, hey, we can beat the Bengals and we can beat the Panthers and we can beat the Bucks and we can beat the Philly and we can beat Washington. They believe it. They're supposed to believe it. I'm not supposed to believe it. It's their job to convince me to believe it. But I don't think having a 2-game winning streak, beating your division rivals, your division opponents, the Giants are a bad football team. They've been that for a long time. So that one doesn't really buy you much leeway in my eyes. Another opponent coming up on Monday night, the Bengals, we'll talk about Joe Burrow and his offensive performance and what they're doing offensively and how it just isn't equating to, I got numbers to support that, isn't equating to realistic winning numbers. It should. History says it should, but they're 4-8 right now. And the Cowboys are looking at that and saying, we can beat them. We can beat that football team they have in the past. And so they believe. The one thing I will say that is encouraging over the last 2 games is with the injuries to the Cowboys, and they had a bunch of them, and they suffered 2 more injuries in that game. Josh Butler He's out for the season with the knee injury. Sucks for him. Great story that Josh Butler was. It's just bad news. His knee exploded on the sideline, and so he'll be done for the season. And then Wanye Thomas, another one of the guys who people were rooting for and wanting him to get the spot. He has a knee injury, but they're saying he could possibly come back in a couple of weeks, but don't know. Zach Martin looks like he's heading in the right direction to come back and play Monday Night Football, as well as DeMarcus Lawrence. So they're getting some guys back. Fortunately, they lost some guys. But due to the injuries, I think we've had a chance to see some players blossom, maybe given too much credibility. I'm going to say budding, not blossoming. Blossom means you kind of come into your form and you're starting to show. I'm going to say budding. Budding is when you're like sticking through the grass, through the dirt, right? It's like you have potential to be there. And I when they do bad, I talk about them bad. When they do good, I got to talk about them good. Mozzie Smith. Over the last 4 games, Mozzie Smith has been not bad. Not great, but not bad. He's getting off the ball, not getting pushed around, just making some plays in the backfield. Like, he's playing some decent football. Luke Schoonmaker making some catches, playing some decent football. TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman. These guys have stepped into those guard roles and played. And here's why I personally, if I had to pick the two, I like Hoffman a little bit better, simply because he brings nasty. If you are nasty in the trenches, I'm a fan. If you're borderline, you got to bring that Draymond mentality. Like, I might poke you in the eye at the end of the pile, under the pile. I might, twist your nards underneath the pile. I might pinch you. I might punch you. I'm going to play past the whistle. I'm going to try to pancake you. When I get up, I'm getting up with my hand on your face, on your throat. Like, I want to do dirty things like that. I want to toe that line of clean and dirty. There's a thin line between a clean, good, solid play and a dirty play. I want my offensive linemen flirting with that line. I do. I want you to leave players that you're playing against. I want you to have a reputation that when you have to play Brock Hoffman, that you are in a battle. Like, you're in a nasty backyard, dark alley brawl. I want it to be, I don't condone spitting. Don't be spitting on nobody. That's nasty. But I want you to poke somebody in the eye. I do. I want you stick your hand through the joint, through the face mask, poke them in the eye. I'm okay with that. I want you to knee him in the junk when you're getting up. I want you to body slam a dude. I want you, if you grab hold of, if they're trying to punch you and you grab a hold of their, like, not punch you, but like punch you like this way, then I want you to try to break their fingers. I'm okay with that. Don't spit on nobody. I don't play those games. That's a little bit too far for me. But I want you to toe that line of being all out nasty. I think in the last couple of games that the Cowboys offensively, and I don't know what the hell, well, I do know. I do know what the hell took so long. But I appreciate the fact that Mike McCarthy has sold out with giving Rico Dowdle the football. Rico Dowdle had his first 100-yard games. Think about this for a second. Rico Dowdle, not just Rico, the Cowboys offensively, up until Thanksgiving Day, has gone 26 regular and playoff season games without a 100-yard rusher. We're talking about dating back almost 2 years. Two seasons since they had a 100-yard rusher. They finally got one. You saw Rico running with some fight, with some fire. He had burst. He had physicality. Now, Rico's biggest thing, and he's done a great job with that this year, and he was hurt. But he's figured out a way to stay healthy up until this point. Let me knock on wood. I don't want to jinx Rico in this next game. But you've seen Rico play a physical brand of football, and that is super important. Defensively, I think Micah's a difference maker. Like, despite how you feel about podcasts, about things that he says in the media, like, let's call a spade a spade. He's a difference maker. He is the Jimmys and Joes that you talk about. He's the one guy, and I think Overshawn is maturing. He's getting to that. He's budding. But Micah's the one guy on this defense where he don't need no plan. I don't need no scheme. I don't need nobody to set me up. I don't need no games to be played. I can go make a play anytime I want to. He's a disruptor. He's a guy that you have to worry about. When that quarterback calls that play and everybody goes, all right, break, and they turn, everyone's looking for where. Hey, someone tell me, where's 11? Where is he? Where? Oh, there he is. And now they're starting their sequence of where we're going to blocking. He's gonna get the double team, the triple teams. What we're seeing now with Micah, and this needs to be noted. And we cannot miss this because it is important. Micah looks and is playing these last couple games fantastically. But what we need to note is Micah missed 4 games due to the high ankle sprain. And that's important because he looks fresher. Now, you're probably asking a question, but what do we have to do to get Micah? Because Micah's numbers throughout his career, this is not made up. You can go and look. Micah starts out, boom, rocket. Defensive of the year category. Then he plateaus, and then he begins to regress. When he gets in November and December, you see the numbers start to decline. The pressures, the sacks, the disruption, the destruction, all of those begin to come down as he gets later into the year. And that's simply because this is no knock on Micah, but it's the truth. He's too small to play the position that they have him playing. Like, just take a moment and think about this. Micah is 245 pounds, 50 pounds on a good day, 250, 245 to 250. Remember last year he tried to bulk up to like 255? He walks around and plays about 245, and he might be fighting to keep 245 to 250 on. He just does. Micah relies a lot on his speed. Well, here's what happens. If Micah had nothing but one-on-one matchups every single day, the average size of a left tackle or right tackle in the National Football League is 317 pounds. 245, 317. That's a lot of weight difference, right? So now, let's continue to do math. So Mike is dealing with, on average, by one person, a guy who's 315 pounds. Well, Micah spends a lot of time getting double teamed. So add another 300-pound dude. So we're talking anywhere from 315 to 330 between these two guys. So we're talking about 620 pounds of human that's leaning on them, pressing on them, pushing on them, falling on them, grabbing on them. And then there are times in games where he gets the 2 offensive linemen, and then he'll get a tight end. That's another 265 pounds. Or he'll get a back. That's another 210, 15 pounds. So you're talking about at any given time of the game, a guy who's 245 pounds could have almost 800 pounds of human beings leaning and beating and pressing and hitting and doing all those things to him in the course of a game. So he wears down simply because he's just not big enough to play the position that they have him playing, which is defensive end. He's even this year, Micah Parsons, he's even had moments in this year where he's played and has been charted as a defensive tackle. He's going to wear down. So that's why when you see him get into late November, early December, mid-December, the numbers They dissipate. They go down. They decline because he just physically cannot keep up with that level of beating. And again, that's no knock towards him. And there's honestly, unless you plan on him missing 4 games in a season, there's nothing you can do. And he wants to play in every single game. But his frame is physically not made for this type of punishment. Now, if you move him back to linebacker and he's playing off the ball and he's not dealing with 800 pounds of people double and triple teaming him, then maybe he lasts a little bit longer and he's able to stay fresher longer and his numbers don't die down because his body is being able to stay in somewhat good shape, the wear and tear on it. But if you're consistently going to play him in the interior of the defensive line, then he's going to have the numbers in the beginning when he's fresh. But as he gets to November and December, they're going to always drop. They have consecutively for the last 4 years. Go look at the numbers. Every single year, you see late November, December, the pressures go down. The quarterback hits go down. The sacks go down. And that's why he'll start the year off and he'll have, in the first 8-10 games, he's up there 8, 9, 10 sacks. And then the last 5, 6, 7 games of the season, 2 sacks. Pressure numbers goes down. So going forward, if you want to see what you see right now, what you're seeing right now from Micah is just what he normally does at the beginning of the year when his body's fresh. His body's fresh now. And so you're seeing him play at a very high level. It's unfortunate that it's kind of in the grand scheme of things, not personally for him, but the Cowboys are not making the playoffs. So all of that kind of goes for naught because he's just not going to go through. That's not going to, the results of his hard work and his ability of being dominant and destructive on the field right now won't result in this team making the playoffs. It's not happening. But it is fun to watch. And then now you see DeMarvion Overshown. You see him now taking that next step in the process of it, and he's playing phenomenal ball. Even when you watch this football game with the Giants, you talk about the play that he made, and thank God he made that play. Thank God. You hear coaches and players always talk about, hey, this game came down to about 3 or 4 plays that we made or didn't make, and that's the reason why we won or lost this game. I want y'all to go back, and I want you to watch the DeMarvion Overshown play. The tip where he hits the running back, tips the ball up in the air, catches it, runs it for a pick 6. Boy, if he does not make that play, it's a touchdown. Just not for the Cowboys. The Giants it was the perfect play call. It was set up perfectly. The blocks were there. Everything was set up perfectly. The difference is DeMarvion Overshown made a hell of a play because that ball was going for a touchdown or for a 70-yard gain. Go back and watch the play. Watch it from the wide copy. That was a touchdown. But that's why you pay the Jimmies and Joes. That's why you draft the Jimmies and Joes, because those are the guys who make plays when there are no play to be made. Those are the guys. Those are the separators. Those are the guys who erase your bads. When something you don't, because that play wasn't, the play design for the Giants were great. The defense for the Cowboys were horrible, but DeMarvion Overshown did a great thing and went back and scored a touchdown. And so in the recap of this game, you're starting to see a lot of young guys play a little bit better. Like I said earlier, TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, got to give those guys some credit. Man, this sucks for Josh Butler and Wanya Thomas because they were getting a little bit of burn. Schoonmaker playing a little bit better. Mozzie Smith playing a little bit better. You want to see those guys taking those steps next year. Now, will it translate over to next year? I don't know. I don't know. But it's good to see that they have some life. That their careers, a guy like Mozzie Smith, his career was on life support because he just wasn't playing well. These last couple games, he's been showing a little bit each and every week. So that's pretty much the recap from that game. Bad game, ugly game. Wasn't really much to drive home about. It'll be an exciting game coming up against the Bengals. I'll start breaking down film on that when I come back and we do our show Thursday. I'll be able to give you a better breakdown on that. I'll tell you right now, from the early watching the game on Sunday, Joe Burrow's playing some MVP level football. Record's not there. Joe Burrow performance is there. But we'll get more into that. All right.